Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing a beginner's guide to Ultra Miami Music Festival. A lot of my channel is dedicated to EDC Las Vegas, and then I was just sitting here realizing I never did any advice videos on Ultra Miami. But I did do a comparison between Ultra and EDC. You can click the link below to check that out. I went to Ultra Miami this year for the first time, so I do have some tips and pointers. It's gonna be going over the basics, the things you should know, and then giving some tips and advice and things I would have done differently. Also just want to mention I'm having a moment with my hair today. I'm like not feeling myself, but that's fine. Anyway, let's just get started with the video. First and foremost, Miami. It's an awesome location. I'm sure you know that already if you bought your tickets, but it's a really, really fun location. I stayed on South Beach when I was there, and it was pretty easy to get to the festival. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but Miami is an amazing place to host a festival. You've got the beaches, it's warm, the weather's nice, the location itself on the bay there is really, really great. You've got a couple different stages. The layout itself, I was surprised. It wasn't too spread out. It's pretty contained in the space that it is. You've obviously got your huge main stage. Then you've got the Carl Cox mega structure. I loved this stage. That one probably surprised me the most, but that one's awesome. It's the one that's like sort of indoors. It's got a roof on it, so the lighting is sick. It like drops and raises. The lasers in there are awesome. So that's more of like an enclosed stage. You've got the live stage where there's some bands and live music, and that's sort of like in this like amphitheater setup, which has seats and then an open stage setting. You've got the worldwide stage,
Mr. Worldwide,
which is really cool. I feel like in all that one that sort of looks like the Arc. You've got the UMF radio stage, you have the Resistance stage, which is that spider looking thing, which is so cool. I recommend going over there even if you don't even like anyone in that lineup. Go and look at that stage, it's awesome. And then the Oasis stage. So they have a lot going on. Where the full lineup comes out and you know where everyone's playing, you'll get a better feel of where you're gonna be spending the most of your time. But in general, the stage and production
is sick.
I'm sure a lot of you know Ultra is a worldwide music festival. I met people from everywhere and they all have their flags with them, which is really, really cool. That's definitely something that's unique to Ultra. So you're gonna notice a pretty diverse crowd there. The weather, so it is hot. It's hot in March in Miami, but it's like a humid hot, so if you're not used to that, prepare to be
Sweating your fucking balls off.
which is not my favorite thing. I was really not prepared for that, but it rained, downpoured Saturday, and it rained Sunday, so keep in mind that it is probably going to rain at some point during the festival. That's just how it is in Florida. The drinks and the food. So there are tons of pop-up bars and food vendors there. You definitely will have your options. There's free water refill stations, so if you're bringing a Camelback, you have that option as well. Drinks were typical music festival prices. Like I feel like a vodka soda was probably around like $12 to $14, somewhere in that range. I didn't really drink beer, but you definitely will have your options if that's something you're looking to do. Bathrooms. So bathrooms are my least favorite part of Ultra. I thought they did a pretty shitty job. But yeah, they had tons of porta potties set up, but I didn't like where they were in the festival. I thought that there were not enough, first of all. We were at certain stages and you had to walk very, very far to get to the next bathroom, and there just weren't enough in certain areas, so like the lines were crazy long, and you know how irritable people can get when lines are long for the bathroom. Overall, it was just a shit show. Traveling to and from the festival was actually surprisingly way easier than I thought. Like I was expecting the worst. I was reading horror stories about Uber rates like being through the roof and you're gonna pay $90, but coming from South Beach, it probably took me like a tops 20 minutes to get there, and I maybe paid like 15 bucks for an Uber. And I split it with my friend, so it was nothing crazy. You can definitely get dropped off like much further up the street and then walk. Don't be too concerned about safety because these streets are packed with people. So if like you're a group of girls or you're like two girls, it was just me and my good friend Tara, my festie bestie Tara. So we weren't really concerned. We got dropped off and there were tons of people walking, so we could just blend in with the group. And then leaving the festival, it's crazy. I highly recommend leaving before it's over. Sorry if that offends anyone who likes to stay till the very end, but I would rather beat the traffic and get out of there. Definitely walk away, either all the way up or you can go back streets, but get away from the festival when you're trying to call an Uber because you will have an issue. Also, a really unique thing is Ultra has their live stream, which if you're watching from home and you don't have a ticket this year, which I'm not going this next year, but Ultra Live is really cool. You're going to notice cameras everywhere they're filming, so jump up and say hi if you see them. I got to see myself on a live stream, and that was a really, really cool part of it. My last thing about it, you have Miami Music Week, which is one of the best things about it. I mean, I would honestly go back just for Miami Music Week, but the whole week leading up into the festival, you have tons of parties at the pools, day events going. The lineups themselves at those parties are possibly even better. Like, everyone is there for that week, so definitely get some tickets to the parties if you can, or any of the nightclubs. It's kind of insane pricing for that week, which is annoying, but I highly, highly recommend checking out Miami Music Week. It's definitely like a unique experience. So here are my tips. These are my tip portion, and here we go. Bring a Camelback. If you don't already have one, I highly suggest buying one, especially if you're somebody who is going to be going to a lot of raves. It's free water, and you're going to need it. Staying hydrated is my #1 tip. It is so hot, and you're dancing, and if you're drinking or doing whatever the hell you want to do, you need water. So I highly recommend getting yourself a Camelback and having that on you. Bring a poncho. So, funny story, me and my little, we bought ponchos and we brought them the first night, and nothing happened. It didn't rain, of course. So we decided to forego the ponchos for the second night. You guess how that went? Not so great. It poured during Tiesto's set and then into Above and Beyond. We were hiding under a tree, just completely drenched from head to toe. Luckily, this is another huge tip, I put my cash, my cards, my ticket, and my phone in a Ziploc bag in my Camelback, so don't forget Ziploc bags. So everything was protected, but I just like completely drenched. And let me tell you, if you're gonna try and run into the merch tents or anything like that, the line was so long. I was really upset with the way they handled that. Unless I am not informed, there weren't any people walking around with ponchos. I didn't know a single place I could go buy one or an umbrella, so that was a little upsetting, and I'm an idiot for not bringing my poncho the second night. And then the third day I brought it, and it barely rained, so that's great. Wear sunscreen. Goes without saying, you're in Miami, it's hot. My little got crazy sunburn. She was wearing this like crisscross bodysuit thing, and she had some really weird patterns on her body, so wear some sunscreen. Earplugs. I'm a person who has probably damaged my hearing way past any kind of saving at this point. Ultra did give us earplugs, as far as I remember, in our little baggie in our ticket. So I loved that. That was really, really great, and I used them. I can tell you right now, if you go in the Carl Cox mega structure, your eardrums will be blown out of your freaking head. Buy yourself a pair of earplugs and use them. You will thank me later. And another note on that, spend some time in the Carl Cox mega structure. Probably my favorite thing of the entire weekend was stumbling in there on Friday night. We went in maybe like an hour before Carl Cox just to check it out. It hands down is my favorite stage. The lighting is sick. All the effects are awesome. You're kind of like warm and cozy in there. There's plenty of room to dance. Even though it looks crowded, you can make your way to the front. We stayed in there for 3 hours on Friday. We missed, I don't even know. There were a bunch of people, Alesso, that we wanted to see on the main stage. Just completely lost track of time. We didn't even want to leave. The music was so good. So get lost in there, you know, like don't have a strict plan, but fill up your Camelback before you go in there, because we had to leave at one point just to go get more water to then try and find our way back. And before I sort of covered this, but I would leave the festival a little bit early each night, especially if you're trying to get a Lyft or an Uber. I just highly recommend it. Even if it's 15 minutes before it ends, you want to get yourself some time to actually get a car. You're going to be hanging out there for a little bit longer than you want to. That's all my tips and advice. Overall, I have to say it was one of my favorite weekends of 2017. I would absolutely do it again. I'm super bummed I'm not going this year. Miami Music Week itself was really cool. I got to go to a couple of those events and I loved them. I was so surprised at how easy it was to get to the festival. That really shocked me. I was kind of preparing for the worst. I do have to say one thing, and I don't want to knock them, but we didn't really make any friends. I have to be honest with you. Like, some people were cool, but overall, I thought there was very heavy amount of drug use, which my little and I did not do that. We were drinking. I thought the crowd was pretty young. It was more like college age people, and I'm gonna be almost 27. I know, I don't look my age, right? There were just some people that were a little rude. There were some people who would come up to us with their camera and like shove it in our face. You know, the people were not necessarily my favorite, but hey, like, everyone's gonna have a different experience. I would do it again. I really, really genuinely liked it, and I thought the production was sick. The lineup was awesome. And I highly recommend going to Miami. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys, or you learned something, or hopefully you avoid like a catastrophe from happening on your trip. Feel free to leave me any comments, questions, concerns, as always, down below. You could also follow me on social media at Emma Capotis on Instagram. Feel free to drop in and say hello to me there, and at Hey There Emma on Snapchat. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Thanks, guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.